Deadpool #1, written by Cody Ziegler, art by Roger Antonio, colors by Guru Effects, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. Now, it is a new #1, so there's not really a recap, though when you get into it, it does deal a lot with what was Alyssa Wong's run that ended recently that I don't know that a lot of people even honestly. Read. Yeah, I just thought, and Deadpool is the perfect character that if you're going to do a new run, you can just start.
Well, especially with the new movie coming out, you'd think they'd want to kind of reset to the status quo a little bit.
Deadpool had a girlfriend and has this symbiote dog, and that continues here, though he's kind of a sad sack, and that's what threw me off. You know, his former lover doesn't have them anymore, and he's sad about that, but he has the symbiote dog, and that's pretty much all you get. You don't get much more than sad sack, Wade, who wants to figure out and get his groove back while he's trying to be, a dad to his symbiote fur puppy here or whatever. I actually even thought it was a cat at first, but he says it's a dog. I don't know. I really don't know about this. As I said, it's a little oversized because it's a #1, but I just found it pretty boring. And when there were times, didn't you see parts where you thought there was a joke, but you don't know because it wasn't funny? Because that happened to be a lot.
Well, I was reading the first page, I thought, man, he's going to go over the top with the fourth wall stuff. He doesn't really do any of that, which is probably a good thing, but
yeah, isn't it weird? I'll give him props that he didn't go that crazy. He kind of
gets props for that.
But he didn't have a story because usually, and I said on that previous show, the two characters that always pop up in my mind are Deadpool and Harley Quinn. That when people want to write them, they're like, oh man, I have to Deadpool this up. And that would be fourth wall breaking, jokes, references. Harley Quinn, same thing. That when they get to the end of it, you're like, well, all you did was joke around and do crazy things. We didn't get a story. Now, in this, again, he doesn't do that quite as much. We still don't get much of a story because he is just pretty much reminiscing about the last run.
It's all about the last run. We almost had a family. It's too late for us. All I want is money now. All this stuff.
And never really explaining that, as if that was the greatest run ever. And everybody's down with that, so that we're all like, oh my God. It's almost like in this first issue, Cody Ziegler is apologizing for that other run being canceled so that he has to keep saying. And like you said, it is woe is me. Oh man, I don't have my groove here. I don't really like doing this. Oh man, I kind of got my groove back now that I stabbed the guy. Let's get the money. Even though at the beginning, you start with them going to get the money. They're in Canadian airspace. And even then you're going to not even tell jokes, but almost put the French part of the French-Canadian Quebec on blast.
Oh man, he's out for blood with those guys, man.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I don't know that many people are really into the idea of that whole, in Quebec, French Canadians, but they don't like the French here. That's what he doesn't like and whatever. And it doesn't feel like anything that I'm oh, classic Deadpool. It just feels like he's railing in on that in a weird way because him, and also I will point out too that the symbiote dog kind of does a lot of the work for Deadpool as well.
It does.
Right? So that even throws me off. And it does talk. And, you have a Deadpool. And a lot of times when you have a singular character, like the Punisher even, or maybe even a Daredevil at points, you'll get a lot of narration. And it's because they're usually by themselves. And some writers, might not want that. So in this, you get the symbiote dog and still get a lot. Everything is still going on. Still a lot of narration. And then just little comments. And the symbiote dog says right here, Papa. Me eat things, Papa? Can I do this, Papa? And I'm like, what's happening? Because I kept waiting for a joke. I kept waiting for not even a laugh. I was waiting for a smile. The art's pretty good. It's okay. It's nothing crazy. Even at that, you have references in this. You get a Chainsaw Man reference. If you're a manga or anime fan, you might get a kick out of it. But it's done in a weird way that really comes out of nowhere, and it's very specific to not Chainsaw Man, but the character Aki in the Chainsaw Man, which is now a deep dive. And I think that a lot of people won't even know what's going on in that. And by the end, it feels to me, as a Chainsaw Man fan, that I do get the reference of oh, you're just trying to grab onto that. You're trying to grab that clout here, and it just felt forced in. You said you didn't even know what the hell it was.
No, I mean, I was assuming you would tell me on this.
Yeah, that's I mean, and for me to actually explain it,
I don't think you could. I think Jason, our buddy in the Slack there, put a picture which kind of explained it.
Like almost a ripoff of the thing. Like
it's panel for panel ripoff.
But in this, he at points is worried that he doesn't know, how to say you're all about to die in Quebecois. One of the jokes, it seems, because they're there to kill a guy. They're going through his bodyguards, not even having any problem because you have a symbiote dog that's eating everybody.
It's just eating everybody, yeah.
And then you'll get a guy who's going to, try to blow them up. And really, you try to set up things in this like, oh my God, they just blew off Deadpool's arm. It grows back before you realize it even grew back. So it's there for a joke. And he's like, almost like the, hey, lend me a hand joke. And then later he's like, man, I don't have a better joke. Even at that, his jokes in this, they're pretty bad, right? They were really, right?
Yeah, they're pretty bad. And like the one thing I actually wanted to see was this guy has this like cool flamethrower thing that he's about to burn him with, and then he gets eaten before he gets to use it. I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to see the flamethrower thing.
And even that, he goes, hey, you ever seen Chainsaw Man? And he's doing the move that Aki does in the book. And like, if the guy said, oh yeah, I love it, like, it's not really that great.
It's my favorite anime or something.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I love that. Why? Why are you saying that? Oh no! Like it's just and just I'm telling you, the jokes are really bad. At one point, this guy they're going after, who's so generic. I mean, this guy is generic beyond belief. Mm-hmm. Where they have to kill him. We don't even really know why. He's got all this money. He's got a mansion. And he's desperately, while this is happening, trying to put all this money in this bag of his.
What was he yelling about? Some hammer space bag?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is that joke?
It's like
he
a fake Amazon
Come
bag?
Come on,
maybe?
You stupid piece of crap. I knew I shouldn't have bought a hammer space bag from a guy in an alley. That I think
What's hammer space?
Is that a joke?
I don't know.
No. Maybe we're not fancy enough. But even then, like, I don't know. And that's the joke. And then Deadpool shows up and says, I'm going to get you. This guy somehow makes portals. He jumps through portals. Now we're going to have Deadpool jump through portals and get his arm cut off and his legs cut off. But again, it doesn't really matter. It's just there as kind of a joke. And in that, you end up, and I'm like, when you have this kind of nonsense, and then you have Deadpool get on what is almost like a big giant symbiote lion. It looks like one. Like, and you're not even going to do a never-ending story reference. I mean, you blew it. You blew it. You ended up forcing in a Chainsaw Man reference, but you don't even have him on the back of this symbiote with, with
I mean, that
going
exactly
after, like,
looks like a never-ending story.
It looks exactly like it.
And that's the references that he would be making,
yes,
80s, early 90s
that would be
references.
his deal.
That's
so instead, he does a so much on the money ripoff of Chainsaw Man, but when you get something that you don't have to spell it out. Also, I have to say that the one other reason in this, Cody Ziegler does seem like he wants to explain every little joke as well. Like everything is explained too much. Everything goes like too long. Like the whole Canadian deal and the Quebec, like it just is too much, and it's not that funny. And so what happens is this guy keeps opening up portals, and you have a spread page that isn't that impressive, but yet on the page it says, I'd hate to be the artist that has to draw this. It's not anything that's even like, oh my God, you got to see this.
It could have been a really cool moment, but was not because it wasn't anything going on.
These portals are going, so it's like jumping through, and this is where he's on and even at that one point, as he is yelling, I hate to be that artist. He actually even has his hand up like he should be doing the never-ending story. But there's not even any clever things because the portal's there and he's just going down. It's just one long thing. It's not even that crazy.
When you go through the portal, sometimes you get chopped in half, but not other times.
It seems like when he went through that we did, and the art didn't really play out that the portal was closing as he went through. I think that, but it never showed that.
Yeah.
And he got his legs cut off. By the time they are halfway through the spread page, which is only a page away from when he got him cut off, you can see that he has his legs back already. And then just starts running. I mean, that's
back.
The thing. Yeah, they're back.
It should take him a week or 2 weeks to regrow those bad boys.
It should take him beyond the issue we're in.
Yes.
You have to have this mean something. Even at one point, you have the guy who we thought would be almost like a G.I. Joe type guy with the big flamethrower. It's like, I want to see that grow back. Well, wait a panel, dude, because you'll see it. And so you have all this going, and then the last portal that, because here's the thing too, the symbiote going with him is way too overpowered, just eats everybody. And now you have to get somewhat of a story, so Cody Ziegler has to leave the symbiote dog aside. There's no reason. Deadpool says, I'm going to go through this portal. You stay here. And it just happens that that's, the last portal where this guy ended up running into this crazy looking guy. I like the design, but looks like a magic user type deal. Almost a mummy, has a bunch of all that going on that has somehow killed the guy that we never really
I hadn't even
knew.
noticed that he killed him there. I just see that for the first time here.
Everything means nothing here. It's really that bad.
I don't care about that guy. Just some weird dude
he was
with
like
portals.
the Iron Yuppie. That's what he was. But we didn't even know what it was. He was just sent there to kill him, and he wanted
just
money.
For the record, so we don't look like clowns, a hammer space bag is an extra dimensional bag. So basically, you can just throw a bunch of stuff in there, and it's like a Doctor Who kind of thing.
So what happened is he ended up buying that from. But why would he? The guy has rows and rows of money, but he bought it in an alley.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. Again,
and he can use the portals. Why not throw the money into the portals?
Yeah, that's true. Like, it doesn't work. Well, at least you looked it up. At least even so, I hope that people wouldn't be like, oh my God, there's dummies.
You never know.
They didn't know what a hammer space bag was. So Deadpool sees the guy he was going to go get. He's dead. Now, in my mind, I thought he was going to say, hey, thanks a lot. Can I have the body now? Because I need evidence. I want to get paid. The guy's dead. That's all you have to do. He's been paid to kill him. Hey, can I have, no. He just starts like, oh, man, you cost me this. And do you know how much it costs to feed a 2-ton alien goo dog?
Apparently a lot of dead humans that he eats. That's what it costs.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be that hungry after this.
No.
So Deadpool attacks him, and this guy is big on killing people. That seems to be his thing, maybe. But we don't really know why or what. His name is Death Grip. We'll find out later, which is kind of a cool, very much a Liefeld kind of name. So I don't mind that, but he runs through Deadpool, kind of crushes him from, and actually hits him from the front. But then Deadpool ends up having a weird deal where he says, here's a joke line, because Deadpool doesn't die and this guy's intrigued, but Deadpool jumps up because the guy's like, oh man, I thought you were more than that. Oh, well, I'll get out of here. Deadpool gets up and stabs him through the back and he says, know how rude it is to blow a fella's back out without saying goodbye? Well, it's downright un-Canadian, if you ask me. That's a big joke.
Yeah, I kind of get two meetings on that. There's some sexual stuff going on with that,
there's
too.
a little bit of it. Well, it was, but it's not funny.
No, it's not funny, and it's just dumb.
It pretty much is the idea of why are you going to buy me a drink first?
Yeah.
That sort of thing, but it's not that fun.
It's literally blowing the back out, and then the other thing, too.
Yeah,
it's kind of dumb.
Even then, it just didn't even flow right, but he impales the guy.
And also, Deadpool got chopped in half, basically, and then he's back up, and within seconds, stabbing this guy.
Within seconds, he gets up and stabs the guy. And this guy, Death Grip, is like, ooh, this is pretty exciting. Somebody who can't die. You're very interesting. I'll check up on you later. As Deadpool escapes, somehow, because, he went through a portal at first, but now he's just going to throw grenades and end up walking out of a building. And he's there, just sitting there, and that's where you end up, where the symbiote dog find him. Then he gets a call from Gal from Miles' deal, the one who was running the Cape Killer stuff, says, hey, I need you on our, kill team. And Deadpool goes, no, I don't want to be in that. That's just there. You said it's funny. It's to make the Ziggler verse, the Cody verse.
Nobody's asking for that.
Nobody's asking for this. And it goes on too long. Deadpool says, I thought while I was impaling that nice young goth man, this is the most fun I've had in ages. And you end up having the dog say, it was nice. Felt like he wasn't there. He wasn't there at that point. Then at the end, you just have this guy, Death Grip, and I'm going to go after that Deadpool, bada bing, and it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not funny. We'll probably give it one more issue, maybe, but, I don't
Depending
know.
on what comes out that week.
I don't want anything to do with it, and that's it. But what would you give this?
4.
I'm going to give it a 4 as well. And I like that you have issue 1, and it has to tell you that it's to be continued. That always makes me
we
laugh.
don't need it right now. Take a little break. The movie's coming out. That movie is going to be freaking huge. It's like, just let that and have a book that actually feeds off of that. to elevate Deadpool rather than whatever this is.
He's just a sad sack through this whole thing. That's what kind of gets me, and it needs to get away from that last run because nobody was reading that. But yeah, 4 out of 10 from both of us.
Weird science is the revolution.